Taking a deep breath in through the nose, allowing it to go down into the belly, opening the mouth and exhaling out. On your next inhale, walking hands back to center. As you exhale, walking them over to the left, stacking that right hand on top of left. Making sure your knees are out wide, allowing your belly to expand. On your next inhale, walking those hands back to center. Staying in child's pose, you're going to bring fingers to interlock together and slowly bring those interlocked fingers up behind your neck, feeling that stretch go down your biceps and triceps. Taking a deep breath in, opening the mouth and exhaling out. And on your next exhale, go ahead and release that bind. Coming back up to a tabletop position. In this tabletop position, your knees should be under your hips and your hands should be under your shoulders. Taking an inhale for cow, allowing that belly to hang, bringing your gaze up towards the sky. As you exhale, arch that spine. Inhaling for cow. Exhaling for cat, bringing navel to spine. Inhaling for cow and exhaling for cat. Beginning to warm up the spine, taking 3 or 4 more rounds of cat and cow with your own breath. Inhaling, letting that belly hang. Exhaling, arching your spine. And when you're ready, coming back to that neutral tabletop position, bringing your gaze over towards your right heel, feeling that stretch going down the C curve of your spine. Inhaling back to center and exhale, bringing that gaze over towards your left heel. As you inhale, coming back to center, coming into that neutral tabletop, we're going to do a couple of different wrist stretches, as most of us either sit at a computer all day or text on our phones. So what we're going to do first is bringing your palms so they're facing up and fingertips are facing towards your knees. You're going to slowly sit your butt back towards your heels, feeling that stretch going up the forearms. Taking a deep breath in and sending your breath to any tight spots within your body. Sinking your butt a little bit further back towards your heels. And keeping palms facing up, we're now going to bring our fingertips to face each other. Now we're going to make fists. So clenching our fingers in on our inhale. And as you exhale, releasing those fingers. Inhale, making fists. Exhale, releasing. Go ahead and take about 5 or 10 more rounds of those fists with your breath. So inhaling, making those fists, and as you exhale, releasing those fingers. And when you're ready, go ahead and make gorilla fists, sending any residual energy down through your mats. Just checking in on our virtual yogis. Are you doing good? Can you hear everything? Okay, perfect. So we're going to come into an intense toe stretch. So coming into a kneeling position, we're going to tuck our toes under, sitting back, bringing our butt back towards our heels. You're going to feel the bottoms of your feet open up and take really deep breaths in, because it's really a lot of our feet are really tight. I actually love doing intense toe stretches because if any of you are familiar with reflexology, the bottoms of your feet are connected to every single organ within your body. So it's like giving your organs little massages as you do these intense toe stretches. So sitting here, as you inhale, sitting a little bit taller, exhale, sinking a little bit deeper into your heels. Holding here for 5, 4, taking a deep breath in for 3, 2, and 1. Exhaling out. Go ahead and come off of those ankles, and you can tap them out or make little circles with your ankles, bringing circulation back to those toes. Coming back into your tabletop position, we're going to transition into threading the needle. So raising that right arm overhead, bringing gaze up to those fingertips. As you exhale, threading that right arm, planting your right shoulder and right ear on your mat, extending left fingertips out towards the top of your mat. So your shoulders should be planted on your mat as you extend those left fingertips up towards the top of your mat. For a deeper stretch, you can take your left hand and bind it behind your back. Holding here for 3, 2, 1. Yogis, if you took a bind, go ahead and unbind that left hand, bringing your left hand under your left shoulder and pressing up, raising that right arm overhead again, bringing gaze up towards those fingertips for a counter twist. Planting that right palm back on your mat, raising your left hand overhead, bringing gaze up towards those left fingertips. As you exhale, threading the needle, planting that left shoulder and left ear on your mat, bringing right arm, right hand overhead. So we go like, it's okay. So for the left one, raising those left fingertips up, and as you thread the needle, you're going to thread through, planting that left shoulder and your left ear, extending that right hand. If you want to engage the right muscles in the arm, you can TP your fingers. This is a really good shoulder stretch. So opening up your back, getting into that left side. You have an option to take this stretch a little bit deeper by bringing that hand that you have reached out in front of your mat to bind behind your lower back. On your next exhale, planting that right palm under your right shoulder, slowly pressing up, bringing those left fingertips back up towards the sky. And on your next exhale, coming back into a neutral tabletop. We're going to go through threading the needle one more time on each side. So raising the right hand up above, bringing gaze towards those fingertips. And as you exhale, threading the right hand through under the left, planting that right shoulder and right ear on your mat. Bringing the left hand above towards the top of your mat. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Bringing that left hand under your left shoulder, pressing up and raising that right hand up overhead to give you that counter twist. Planting that right palm back on your mat. Inhaling left hand overhead, bringing gaze up towards those left fingertips. On your next exhale, threading that needle, planting left shoulder and left ear on your mat, extending right fingertips out towards the front of your mat. For the extra bind, bringing your right hand down around your lower back. Bringing that right hand under right shoulder and pressing back up, bringing that left hand overhead for that final counter twist. We're going to move into a little bit of a flow. So coming back into a child's pose, bringing those knees wide, big toes to touch in the back. On your next inhale, coming back into table. And as you exhale, coming down into Sphinx. So for Sphinx, we bring our elbows are underneath our shoulders. Our forearms are planted flat on the ground. We are extending up and opening through the chest, feeling the lower back release, making sure we're not clenching our glutes. So as you inhale over to that right side, bringing gaze over to your right heel. Feeling a nice little stretch going down your back. Inhaling back to center and exhaling over towards your right side. Your left side. Bringing gaze towards that left heel. Inhaling back to center. And on your next exhale, pressing back up into tabletop and down into child's pose. So we're going to do that flow a couple of more times. On your next inhale, inhaling up into tabletop position. Exhaling down into Sphinx. Bringing those elbows under your shoulders. Forearms go out towards the top of your mat. Bringing your gaze over towards your right heel. Inhaling back to center. and exhaling over towards your left heel. Coming back to center, and on your next inhale, pushing up into tabletop position, exhaling down into child's pose. On your next deep breath in, coming back into tabletop. Exhaling down into Sphinx pose. So as we're in Sphinx, we're going to push up into Cobra to warm up our back a little bit more. So when we push up into Cobra, we're bringing our hands by our chest and pressing up, releasing your glutes if you're clenching them. And on your next exhale, go ahead and press down out of Cobra. Inhaling back into tabletop, exhaling down into child's pose. Bringing those knees wide, big toes to touch in the back. Inhaling back into table. Exhaling down into Cobra. This time bringing your gaze over towards your right heel. Inhaling back to center and exhaling your gaze over towards your left heel. Exhaling, coming back to center. And on your next inhale, pressing up into tabletop position. This time staying in tabletop. We're going to bring our right foot, planting it flat on the floor for low runner's lunge. Bringing hands onto your thigh. We're going to open up those hip flexors a little bit. So pressing your left hip forward, you should feel your left hip beginning to open. Bringing hands behind back, binding behind your lower back, allowing your chest to open up. As you inhale, you should feel your lungs expand. Gently releasing that bind, we're going to come into half splits on the right side. So right toes are flexed up towards the ceiling, twisting your torso towards that right leg. You're going to slowly bring your nose to knee, feeling that stretch go through the hamstring. Holding here for 3, 2, 1. Walking back into that low runner's lunge. Inhaling spine tall, bringing hands to clasp behind the back. Taking a deep breath in, feeling your heart space open. Sinking your hips a little bit deeper towards the front. Releasing that bind. And walking hands back to that half split on the right side, twisting your torso towards that right leg. And as you exhale, slowly bringing nose to knee. Inhale, walking hands back for our final low runner's lunge on our right side. This time, instead of yogis have a couple of options for their hands. You can bring them so they clasp behind the lower back, or you can come into prayer hands to open up the shoulders a little bit more. So prayer hands go behind your back. You can have prayer hands facing down, which will open up your shoulders, but not as intense as if fingers are facing up towards the sky. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, opening the mouth and exhaling out. Gently releasing that bind, walking hands back. Coming into our final low half splits on our right side. Twisting your torso towards that right leg. And as you exhale, bringing nose to knee. This is also a really great place for props. So if you have blocks or bolsters or pillows for yogis at home. Holding here for 3, 2, 1. Slowly walking hands back, bringing your right knee under your right hip. In tabletop position, we're going to extend that right leg back strong, sweeping the right leg out towards the right side. You're going to plant that foot flat on the ground and slowly sink your butt back towards your heel. You should feel this stretch going in the inner thigh. You can come down onto your forearms for a deeper stretch or stay up on your hands. Slowly walking hands out of this, bringing that right leg back around. We're going to take a couple of hip circles. So still staying off of that right knee, taking some circles with that knee just to release any additional tension in that hip space. And when you're ready, we're going to come into a low runner's lunge on the left side. So bringing that left foot so it's out in front. Bringing hands up to that thigh, pressing up, sinking your right hip a little bit deeper, feeling that hip flexor open up. Bringing hands behind back in a bind, pressing down on that bind a little bit to open up your lung space, taking a deep breath in, opening the mouth and exhaling out. Gently releasing that bind and walking down into half splits on the left side, bringing that torso to face the left leg. And as you exhale, bringing that nose to knee. Feeling the left hamstring begin to release. As you exhale, sinking a little bit deeper into this half splits. Walking back up into that low runner's lunge. Bringing hands behind back into that bind. Inhaling tall throughout the spine. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Gently releasing that bind. Walking hands back down to half splits on the left side, twisting your torso towards that left leg. And as you exhale, bringing that nose to knee. Taking a deep breath in and sending it to any tight spots in that left leg. And on your next inhale, walking back into low runner's lunge on this left side, inhaling up through the spine and coming into yogi's choice of bind behind the back. Either interlacing fingers, coming to that prayer bind again. So for prayer bind, so virtual yogis can see, you have your hands behind your back. Fingers are facing up towards the sky. Not only should you feel your shoulders open up, but also your forearms. And on your next exhale, releasing that bind and walking back into our final half splits on this side, bringing your torso towards that left leg. And as you exhale, bringing nose to knee. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Walking out of this and bringing that left leg back so it's behind, extending left leg out strong behind you, swooping that left leg over to your left side, planting that foot flat on the ground. As you exhale, slowly sink your butt back towards your heel, feeling that inner thigh stretch. Coming down onto your forearms for a little bit of a deeper stretch. Holding here for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly walking hands forward, swooping that left leg back behind. We're going to come into some hip circles with that left knee. Coming back into a neutral tabletop. We're going to make our way into lizard on the right side. So bringing that right foot, so it's at about 2 o'clock, and you're going to slowly lower down, coming down onto your forearms. Yogis at home, if you have bolsters, blocks, pillows, feel free to prop yourself up on your forearms with those. And lizard is really to get into those hip spaces. So maybe if you're really tight in your hips, rocking on the blade of your left or of your right foot, rocking back and forth. Staying in lizard. And on your next exhale, sinking a little bit deeper. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Engaging that back leg, you're going to press back into your first downward facing dog of tonight's class. So as you come into your downward facing dog, feet are going to be a little bit wider than hips distance apart, and you're going to walk your dog just to warm up those calves and hamstrings a little bit more. On your next inhale, lifting that left leg strong into three-legged dog, swooping it through for lizard on the left side. So your left foot should be at about 11 o'clock. And as you exhale, slowly coming down onto your forearms, maybe coming onto the side blade of your foot, rocking it back and forth to open up your hips. On your next exhale, sinking a little bit deeper into lizard on this left side. And on your next inhale, slowly walking hands up out of lizard, engaging that back leg and pressing back into your downward facing dog. Walking your dog, taking a deep breath in through the tip of the nose, opening the mouth and exhaling out. We're going to be transitioning into pigeon on the right side. So inhaling that right leg strong into three-legged dog. And as you exhale, swooping that right leg through, bringing that right shin to be parallel with the top of your mat. So yogis, make sure you check your foot, making sure that your ankle's at a 90-degree angle. And slowly beginning to settle down into this pigeon, walking down on hands or forearms, maybe even bringing forehead to mat. So there are a couple of other ways you can also take pigeon. If you want to try it on your back or against a wall, you can always do that. So if you're on your back, you're going to lay down and bring that right leg, that right ankle on top of your left thigh. And then you're going to bring our hands wrapped around that left thigh, bringing that right, into that figure four. So you can do that. You can also turn so your foot's against the wall, really pressing into your hips to open them up a little bit more. So if you go like this. Yeah, no problem. On your next exhale, settling a little bit deeper into pigeon on this right side. And yogis that are on floor pigeon, go ahead and slowly begin to walk your hands back up, coming into that tall spine, engaging that back leg, pressing back into your downward facing dog, slowly walking your dog to release any tension. For yogis that took a variated pigeon, you can stay where you were or come back into your downward facing dog before coming into pigeon on your left side. Inhaling that left leg strong into three-legged dog and coming into pigeon on the left side, bringing that left shin so it's parallel with the top of your mat. Sitting tall in your spine before settling back down, coming down to forearms or forehead. And for yogis that are taking pigeon on your back, also have the option to go to the wall. On your next exhale, sinking a little bit deeper into pigeon on this left side. And on your next inhale, slowly beginning to walk hands up out of pigeon, sitting tall in that spine. So yogis that are on the floor pigeon, go ahead and swing your right leg around to meet your left leg. We're going to come into double pigeon. So stacking that right shin on top of left. Inhaling arms overhead. As you exhale, forward fold. You should feel this within your hips in this position. And on your next exhale, walking those hands over to the left side, you should feel this going into the QL muscles. So the QL muscles are in your lower back, and it's right between your lower back and your last rib. So walking hands a little bit deeper will stretch out that lower back a little bit more. Walking hands back to center and slowly sitting up into a tall spine. Go ahead and bring those legs out in front and shake them out. We're going to come into double pigeon on the left side, stacking that left shin on top of right. Inhaling, arms overhead, and as you exhale, forward fold. allowing yourself to sink in. And on your next exhale, walking hands over to that right side, allowing the lower left back to open up. Inhaling hands back to center and slowly walking back into that tall spine, bringing legs out in front one more time and shaking them out. Coming into a seated tree on the right side, we're going to bring the bottom of our right foot into our left inner thigh. Inhaling, arms overhead, twisting your torso towards that left leg, and slowly folding forward. Hands can come to shins, they can come around the foot. To open up your side body, you can raise and engage that right arm overhead, allowing the chest to open up towards the sky. As you exhale, sinking a little bit deeper into this tree fold. Slowly walking hands back, coming into tree on the left side. So extending that right leg out long, bringing the bottom of your left foot into that right inner thigh. Inhaling, arms overhead, twisting your torso towards that right leg, and slowly folding forward. If you engaged up through your right side on the last time, go ahead and raise that left hand overhead, opening up that chest, that heart space towards the sky. As you exhale, sinking a little bit deeper into this tree fold. Slowly raising up one vertebrae at a time. Bringing both legs out in front, we're going to come into a wide leg forward fold. So as you come into that wide leg, go ahead and remove any fleshy parts away from your sits bones. Inhaling, arms overhead, you're going to slowly forward fold, walking hands out towards the middle. Walking hands out a little bit further to sink a little bit deeper into this wide leg forward fold. Allowing your neck to relax, maybe rocking your head from left to right. Allowing your shoulders to relax. Taking one final deep breath in through the nose. And as you exhale out, sink just a little bit deeper into this forward fold. Slowly walking hands back up till you come into a tall spine. You're going to go ahead and bring those feet so they're planted flat on the ground. And you're going to slowly roll down one vertebrae at a time until you are laying flat on your back. Bringing those knees into chest, giving yourself a hug, maybe rocking side to side, massaging the lower back. Bringing those arms out to a T. We're going to come into supine twist. So letting those knees fall over to the right side. So your left knee stacks on top of your right. Your arms come out into that T for a deeper stretch, bringing your gaze over towards your left side. And yogis in studio, would you like a cool lavender towel? Yeah? Okay. Bringing those knees back into your chest for a hug. Rocking side to side. And allowing your knees to fall over towards the left side. Bringing that right knee to stack on top of left. Bringing arms out to a T. And bringing gaze over towards the right side. And bringing knees back in for one final hug. And when you're ready, coming into Shavasana, extending your legs out towards the bottom of your mat, bringing one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly, your hands down by your side, yogi's choice. Keeping your eyes closed, allowing your eyes to roll from the left to the right. Allowing your temples to relax. Notice if you're clenching your jaw, releasing any tension. Allowing your neck to relax and your shoulders. Letting your back release and sink into your mat. Unclenching your glutes. Letting your hamstrings and your quads relax. all the way down to your calves. And finally, letting your ankles roll out towards the outsides of your mat and enjoying Shavasana, rest yogis. Taking a deep breath in through the nose, exhaling out through the mouth, wiggling fingers and toes, inhaling arms overhead for a full body stretch. Keeping eyes closed, rolling over to your favorite side, using your bicep as a pillow. Let your visions guide you. Visions are different from dreams. A vision is a picture that comes from the soul and comes out through the heart. A vision is a small glimpse of light that shines and shows us our path. It is a quick flash of something that hasn't happened yet. It may tell us something about today or 10 years from now. Visions occur when our souls look at the map for our lives. We get a sense of where we're going and tell our hearts how to find that place. The more conscious and clear and direct we are, the more we can tune into and help create the highest visions for our lives. What do you want? What would feel right? What do you see yourself doing? Be clear and concise, then let it go. Sometimes when we run out of dreams, we have to rely on our visions. These small glimpses of light to lead the way. Learn to see the visions in your heart. Learn to trust them. Learn to help create them. Allow them to manifest themselves. When the path is dark, learn to be comfortable with these small bursts of light. Let your visions guide you home. Keeping eyes closed, slowly pressing up into a seated position. Bringing hands to heart center. The light and love in me honors the light and love in you. We bow and say namaste. Namaste, yogis. Thank you so much for coming to class today, everyone.